go down to our social media platforms at Kingdom TV and please share with us your story. It could help out one or two people out there. Well, today we're joined in by a key woman. I'm looking for how to introduce her and I'm still failing to. But she suffered with alcohol, by the way, for over 15 years, and she got her turning point. I think that was around COVID time. When you read her story, it is quite amazing. She's written over 2 books, so she's an author, she's a public speaker, she's a PR in a certain company, and she does a lot of things I've gotten to know about today. I'm sure you people are going to enjoy with us her story. Let us welcome Becky with us today.
Hey Becky.
Hi Lynnette.
First of all, you look so beautiful.
Wow, thank you. It's God's glory.
You're glowing.
God's glory.
Auntie, the glow and the glory.
The glow.
Glory.
Yeah. you know, as Maxeldj was actually introducing you, there are the things that I found very surprising, right? Because you are so different. You are very well composed and stuff, and so for someone to say that, oh, I was once addicted to alcohol and stuff, it is very surprising. And like, oh. So I can actually, you know, if I was in that position, it would encourage me that I can actually, you know, come from that position. So you can introduce yourself and what you want people to know you for.
Wow. Thank you so much. So my name is Rebecca Maxeldj. On all my books, you'll see the names Rebecca Chisache Maxeldj, and I added that name Chisache. My mother gave it to me when I was born, but I never used to like it.
I actually thought it was for your husband.
That husband's name you put in the middle? No. So Rebecca Chisache Maxeldj, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, and I'm a coach. And as a coach, I'm a sobriety coach. I help people who are struggling with addiction, especially with substances, on their journey to sobriety. And that was stemmed from my own personal journey. I struggled with alcohol from the age of 15. And I also grew up with an alcoholic mother.
Wait, 15?
Yes. And I also grew up with an alcoholic, a dysfunctional alcoholic mother who passed away when I was 14. And I remember saying to myself, I'll never ever take alcohol because of what I saw it do to her growing up. And she passed away when I was 14. And it's only a year later where a friend of mine, I was in S4 at the time, and a friend of mine invited me to a certain discotheque at that time.
Let us first go slow. Let us first slow down.
I know. This is very
and first take it really
I
slow.
feel like I need to
How does a 15-year-old, first of all, get into alcohol addiction? Like, how do you get surrounded by all this?
That's actually a very interesting question because as much as I say now that I started drinking at 15, with all the work and research that we do in alcohol prevention right now, in addiction prevention right now, the numbers from the Uganda Alcohol Report are actually showing that children as young as 8 years old are now drinking alcohol.
Wow.
You know, so it comes down to very many things. First of all, you know, it's just the availability of it. Then the
But I thought alcohol was not for sale to persons under the age of
That's
18.
a good question. So how are they getting it? That's a very good question, because even when I was 15, that night when my friend invited me, we walked into this discotheque, this club. We were not checked by bouncers, we were not asked for ID. And alcohol was sold to us like any other person in the club. Wow. And that was the first time I got to taste alcohol. And that day began my 15-year struggle with alcohol. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Like,
So how was this? Was it group influence? Were you guys from school to you people were in boarding school?
Yeah.
And they invited you over. Hey, okay. How do you find yourself in the club?
Yeah. So first of all, I was a very level-headed young girl, very ambitious. I was a homebody. I was blessed. Our family was blessed by the Lord. My dad created a home environment whereby we never needed to leave our homes for anything, you know. So during my senior 4 vacation, I was seated at home, and then this telecom company, which I won't mention, had introduced this package where you can speak for, I don't know, a shilling a second, something like that, per second or something. And so, you know, I would talk with my friends on phone all night and all of this. So one day I was watching TV, it was around 11 p.m. And so a friend of mine called me and said, hey, hello, how are you? What are you doing? I'm like, I'm watching TV. What do you expect me to be doing? And he said, you know, today I have my brother's car. come and we go to club, this and that. And I looked, and those were the days of a certain tabloid, and you would see all these naked women and all of this. And so I said, you heathen, how can you say such things to me? How can you invite me for such things? Do I look like
You
a
were
kind
so
of person?
Christian.
No, it wasn't even Christian. It was just the kind of way I was brought up. Like, how do you're going in those women, we see all those tabloids.
So the parents were kind of strict.
Not necessarily strict. Okay, my mother was a disciplinarian.
Also, you had the morals.
Yeah, it was there. Even the schools that we went to, you know. So I was like, I was even surprised because he was a friend from school. So I said, how can you invite me for these things? But because he was a really good friend, I trusted him, I told him, hey, let's go. He picked me up.
And you have a car.
And you have a car, you understand, naturally, you understand. So we went to the disco. I went. It was a very, very awkward night. I walked in. I ordered for juice, a certain brand of juice. The bartender laughed. She called my friend and said, this one you've brought here, Nachalo, until he told me, these are the drinks they have. But for me, all the drinks I was seeing were reminding me of mom.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't want these things. Now, there is a certain brand that had just entered the Ugandan market at that time, and their marketing strategy was bright luminescent fridges. I don't want to say the name, but when I describe, you'll understand the brand. It comes in 2 flavors, but at that time they had just introduced their first flavor, which was red. So now the club was dark. So their fridges, the marketing strategy was the fridges, because of the way the drink is created, the light makes it illuminate. So their fridge stands out. So when a person comes to the counter, the eyes go. So that was their marketing strategy. So I looked at the drinks and I said, you know what, that looks like a diplomatic. It looked nice. Let's not lie. They have
very nice bottle.
Very nice marketing, very nice branding. And I said that one looks diplomatic because these other beers, you see these beers they advertise today. Back in the day, these small slim bottles were not there. It was this huge the ones you hold with 2 hands.
Babi Kandi Sanga
Thank you. Thank you. And it's true, yes. And so I said, let me take this small one. It looks, So first of all, there was a promotion that night. Money over 4 for 10 something, and 10K back in the day was a lot of money.
I know.
So he bought for me. I said, I'm going to sit here at the counter. Because first of all, there were men, they were walking around looking how. I said, I'm staying here in the light. He said, okay, let me go and hang with my friends. I stayed there. I drank my beers, but remember, I didn't know what intoxication felt like.
Yeah.
All I know, first of all, I'm the one who loves music, and that night it was reggae raga night. So just know that DJ had me in a chokehold. I was there drinking the things.
Lyrics.
I drank about 9 of those bottles in like an hour and a half.
And you weren't feeling
because no, you see, the thing is, I didn't know what intoxication felt like, but the thing was sweet. The drink was sweet, and I'm a sweet tooth. So me, I thought I'm just drinking. I didn't know. All I knew is I'm on the stool. All I know is I'm on the stool. Then the left shoulder was moving like this, the right like this. Next thing I was up. Then I was dancing all over the place until my friend came and told me, I'm taking you home. And he told me I had even refused. I said, no, I don't go. I'm having fun. How he got me home, I don't know. All I know is I woke up in my bed the next day, clothes on, as if still holding the handbag like this. I'll never forget this day. I was holding the handbag like this. My specs were on the side, on the bedside table. My shoes were still on. I was still in my jeans and my cut top. And I opened my eyes. My head was pounding. My mouth was so dry. I had never felt so terrible like that in my life. But I assure you, the first thing I did is I sat up on my bed. I got my phone and I called my friend. It was midday. I told him, where are we today? In an hour, he picked me up and we went to rugby club.
To go back.
And that's how I started drinking, yes.
I just want to ask this. So does this mean, like, even people who go for these things, probably the youths and stuff, they actually don't know that they're probably getting intoxicated, or they don't know what they're getting themselves into?
It's true, because...
But I feel like before, like, you pack it in the silence. And we told you, if you also have a story, just like this one that we're going to be hearing from Becky, you can also, by the way, let us know in the comment section or wherever you're watching this from. Otherwise, you had asked a question?
Yeah. I had asked about, the people, we go to the clubs and probably we take a bottle or 2, 3, 4, 5. And as she says, you don't feel intoxicated because maybe it's not in your mind how you should feel, or, I'm not even falling, I'm not doing this. So how do people realize, or is it just automatic that you will know? How do you know that now I am an addict? Or how do you realize that, now it has gotten to me at this point?
Yeah, so unfortunately, it's different for different people because our bodies are different. Alcohol
Yeah.
affects people differently. There are people who will, you'll have two people. Two people will go, let's say, somewhere, they'll sit down, they'll drink the same amount of alcohol. The next day, you'll check up on both of them. One will say, what was that? I never want to experience that again. The other person will say, whoa, what was that? We go again.
We go again.
So alcohol has a way that it deals with the mind.
It's double-sided.
It's a psychoactive substance. So to answer your question about how does someone know whether I've become an addict, or there are signs and symptoms, yeah? First of all, you have to understand that not everyone who drinks alcohol is an addict. There are people who drink alcohol but have not crossed the threshold to addiction. So we need to first understand what addiction is. When a person gets to addiction, addiction means consuming something or engaging in an activity despite the negative effects that it presents.
Yeah.
So when it's defined, when addiction is defined, it's defined in two ways. It is a compulsive disorder and it's destructive. So if you want to know whether you are addicted to something, one, you start acting compulsively. What does that mean? It means that when you get the urge to engage in the activity or in the substance, you won't stop until you get that thing.
Yeah.
The second is it's destructive. If you notice that there are negative patterns around you in your personal life, in your work life, relationships, then you've crossed into the threshold of addiction. There are people who drink alcohol very well and their lives are okay. And they will use that as an excuse. Me, I'm a sobriety advocate. I'll never tell someone to drink responsibly. That message is not there in my telling, it's not there. So there are people who genuinely tell you and say, okay, what about me who I go out with my friends or I even drink at
But
home.
if you were given chance to define the responsibility we are talking about,
Yeah,
which
the responsible drinking.
which
Exactly.
responsible
This
drinking
is what
we are
I
talking
always
about?
present, especially
One,
to alcohol
two,
companies. I feel like that's a very vague and lazy form of escaping the consequences of your products that you release.
Yeah.
What is responsible drinking? Is it one drink? Is it 5? Is it 20? What is it? Tell us.
We also don't.
But
Thank you.
some of the cigarette guys, they'll tell you excessive smoking.
Yes,
causes
but you
lung
see,
stuff,
it's because all these big alcohol and big tobacco, what they do is it's very vague. They want to escape the consequences of the harm their products create in
They'll
society.
set up a disclaimer.
It's capitalism. They'll tell you, as our job is to put a disclaimer. The disclaimer is there, so you can't sue someone who says that I lost my relative or someone to maybe over drinking or whatever. You can't sue big alcohol or big tobacco.
Yeah.
What are some of the hardest challenges that you faced while being addicted? Like in that time, the challenges that you faced?
First of all, the greatest was the shame. The shame that came with how far I tumbled from. It was such a fall from grace, because when I started drinking at 15, the negative effects hadn't started showing. So this is the reason why many people defend their habits, because the negative effects don't show at first. They'll tell you, I'm okay, life is good. Yeah. So it's only when I got to university about 3-4 years later that now I started chewing my tuition. I started missing classes. I started, I dropped out of university twice. Next thing, I was not able to have a good relationship with my father at home. There was so much friction. Then eventually my
Also,
father
by this time, your
kicked
dad
me out.
didn't know.
No, he found out later.
Oh.
But much later, because as a teenager, I hid it until about university.
Was he an addict too?
No,
or just
no.
mom?
No, mom was. Although I've had stories that he used to drink, but this was before I was born.
Oh.
And then around that time when I was born, mommy now started also drinking, but hers was so bad, And so it's really hard to pinpoint, okay, well, now I'll never know what it was that made her drink, because I was really too young to understand what was happening. But back to my story, there was so much friction when dad found out that. By the time he found out, I was now like 4-5 years into my drinking, and as a seasoned drinker. Now I was dependent. I was on the way to addiction. I was now a dependent. You understand?
It's your choices.
I was drinking every day. Yes, I was drinking every day. I was chewing money. I was doing everything. I don't sleep home. You come home at 4 a.m. You sleep until 7 p.m. You leave the house. So, things got so tough.
Did they manage to notice that you're doing this?
Of course, they noticed. First of all, they noticed from university when I was not I was not studying, you know, and all of this. All I was doing was leaving the house in the evening, coming back the next day, sleeping the whole day, leaving. So of course they understood that.
And where is the money coming?
Thank you. And that pains parents. It pains them and says, who's funding these things? Then you now start thinking, is my child selling drugs? Is my child a prostitute? You know, all those questions start arising. But in that time, you become defensive because you're like, you don't understand me. It's only alcohol that understands me, or the friends who you drink with. Yes. And
there is that level of comfort that they give you when you're in the bar. You know, there is a meme that was going out around at TikTok. When we're in the bar, we are all fam.
Yes. but you know, coming to what you're saying, it ties back to the theme of this episode, the weight of silence. Yeah. So the reason why many young people are not able to express themselves is because they haven't found safe places to. Because remember, at that time, of course, it took me some therapy and all of this to understand why I was behaving the way I was behaving at this age. And one of them was the fact that I had not actually grieved my mom. Yeah, so I had not grieved.
It can cause.
Yes, people can build up trauma. You can hold something in for years and you don't even know.
Well, you're just looking for an escape route.
You're looking for an escape route, but you don't even know why you're drinking like this. Until you sit down with a therapist and they start poking and poking and poking until they reach that one thing and you just break down. And they say, there we are.
Now, how do you get to the point of you leaving home, joining the streets and all
Oh, yeah. There was so much friction at home, tension at home. Eventually, my father, and this is something many parents struggle with, when they don't know how to deal with something, they would rather just detach from it or remove it from the equation. So the mistake many people make with young addict people is removing them from home. That's the worst thing you can do. Addicts are terrible people. They are liars, they steal, but as a parent, your role is to have grace for your child, because the minute you put an addict on the streets will give them what they are looking for twice, 100 more times, to the point where they can, like, the end game will now be death. The next time they'll tell you, just come and pick a body.
Oh, wow. There is a question that I wanted to ask right before Maxeldj, and you know, so many youths out there think, no, I do this because, you know, it's been in my family lineage. My mom did it, my dad did it, my grandfather did it. So would you think that you probably did it? I know that there are some things that you found out, but did it ever occur to you that, oh, it's probably because my mom did it, or for you it was just these are my actions and my actions alone?
Yeah. So this now comes down to the scientific bit of it, the psychology bit of it, the causes of addiction, or the causes of substance use disorder, what it's called in psychology. So one of the causes is genetic predisposition, whereby that gene, that genetic predisposition, it's in your bloodline somewhere, somehow, either from your father's side or your mother's side, or both. And so somewhere down the line, it will manifest. Now, for me, it was just dormant because I had never got the opportunity to drink.
Does that
so
mean
the
that
moment I tasted alcohol,
does that mean that there are people who are meant to drink?
Not really meant to drink, but their DNA structure designs them to be more prone to addiction. It's not that there's no one who was born to drink. God never designed anyone to drink.
By the time they come to gins.
It's just that in certain bloodlines, there are certain bloodlines that are modified in a certain way, simply because of the way certain people back lived. Do you understand? Which is why when you go to certain doctors and you have a condition, for some conditions they ask you, is there anyone in your bloodline who had it? It's because blood is a record. Do you understand?
I actually thought this thing is spiritual, because, you know, we over put it on the spiritual bit, and then, you know, we lay hands and stuff. But now that you say it's scientific, of course we haven't gone to
there's the science of it and the spirituality of it.
When you're like healing, do you focus more on the science? Do you focus more on the physical or on the spiritual?
No, it depends. And this is why we need, especially as Christians, we need to have wisdom when we're dealing with such things. This is why the world doesn't want to deal with Christian therapists, because there are people who come to us.
They're biased.
There are people who come to Christian therapists, and we are Bible bashing people who just want a hug.
You're chasing that
person just needs. Thank you. Kumbe, the person just needs a hug and just needs to be encouraged and told that as much as this girl rejected you, there are 8 billion people on the planet. you haven't seen. There's nothing.
I know.
Instead of telling, you're Bible bashing a person. The person doesn't even know about God. The person doesn't know about
You just opened Maxeldj.
And you're sending them to scripture.
So we need wisdom. The truth is everyone needs Jesus, but the truth is we need wisdom of how to get Jesus to them. So there's the science
I
of
feel
it
like
and
this
the
is happening a lot
spirituality of it.
in Christian families, whereby these kids are taught more to do with the Bible. There's usually things to say, I'm actually passing through bullying at school. I'm actually passing through this at school. You can't open up to them because by the time you go to them, they'll be like, God, just go to the Bible. Even
I love the
Jesus
fact
was
that you
bullied.
brought that up. Yesterday, I was seeing, I was actually preparing for this interview, and I saw a video. It came up on my TikTok timeline. It happened in the United States. It was in a black church. So they had called, it was like teens youth service or something. So they called the youth in France. They were kids of like 10, 11 years old. And they told them, give your testimonies of what you're thankful for. Yeah. So this girl gets the microphone and she says, I'm thankful for my stepmom who listens to me more than my mom. Oh, and her mom was in the congregation. Wow. The mother stood up and said, no, I bind this demon. Imagine the elders, other women came and said, laying hands on the girl. The girl is standing there looking like this. Be a better parent. Why are you casting out demons from someone who is not feeling love of a mother from you?
This actually opens my mind to, it's actually also for me. I'm asking for myself. So many times you want to tell your mom. They probably have no problem.
Yes.
But you don't have a way to bring it out. You don't have a way to say, Mom, I am a sex addict.
To express yourself.
Yeah, to express yourself.
Yes.
She wouldn't have a problem with it. She would be, out there and stuff. But then how do you come out? What are some of the ways you can come out and express what you are going through as a youth?
Okay. For this one, I'm going to give two answers. One from the side of the youth and the side of the parent. For the youth, and this is one thing that I understand. It's not just about youth, but as people, as human beings, the very essence of humanity is self-preservation.
Yeah.
So we don't want our reputations to be damaged. We don't want people to find out things about us. But one thing I've understood in life is nothing can be addressed until something is acknowledged. So you have to muster up the courage, but also make sure it's in a safe place. There are people who don't trust their parents for good reason.
Yeah.
Because your parent is hard-headed when he says it. Bagenda kulanga kuchalo, bagenda kulanga in the clan.
Also talk about the church.
Yeah.
You speak to a pastor, the choir members, know the congregants.
I know.
And you see,
you're going to be in the sermon, the next sermon that is coming out.
And I think I spoke about this. It's not that the youth don't have what to say or they don't want to say. It's that they don't feel safe enough. The church, which is supposed to be the safest place, or a place that is supposed to bring in people for healing, has become into a danger zone that people are even avoiding Christian therapists. And so this now I want us to understand, is there a way that we can become safe spaces? Not just as the church, but even as people.
Yeah.
As an individual, are you safe enough for somebody to open up to? Are you safe enough that when your neighbor, we keep saying, my brother's keeper, but can you really keep your brother? If your brother came to you, can you really keep your sister? As for parents, I want parents to lecture less and listen more.
Let's try to drive this fast forward.
Yeah.
How did we break the addiction?
Right.
And when? Okay.
And
so when? What point?
At what point?
Yes. So I'll just rush through it. In 2015, my father got tired of my shenanigans in the house, and of course, even as a parent, I understand, because there are many parents who would rather just kick someone out rather than try to understand. Because first of all, this is what happened in his wife, and it's now happening in his daughter. So he kicked me onto the streets. I was homeless on the streets of Kampala up to 2020 for a good 5 years. And it was in 2020 when there was a small turnaround where my brother, some money was released because UNRWA was constructing where my mother was buried. So money was released to the family, blah, blah. My brother looked for me on the streets. My entire family didn't know where I was at this point. My brother looked for me on the streets and put me in a very small, tiny room in Charlie Wajana. Very small, in the outskirts, some place called Tirunda Ambata. Very small tiny room like this.
And
And when I was there trying to get my life together, that's now when the president announced the lockdown. And so it was in that very small room that I underwent my rehab process. I keep telling people that rehab is not a place, it's a process.
So how did it become the rehab process?
Yeah.
Did you
Also,
just
were
not
you
have
with
money
no.
to buy the alcohol?
There was no money, there was no access, it was lockdown. So first of all, Chirundambata is not an essential place where they were bringing cigarettes and alcohol. Secondly, I was broke. I had no money. So I was going through, God was literally just uprooting the stronghold and everything.
At this point, you don't even have a boyfriend or like
Which boyfriends, Nana? Which men? You should have seen me on the street. I'm going to show you photos.
Like
If
you are looking
first
so
of
bad.
all, as a rasta, I dreaded weight like up to here. Then I had lost so much weight.
So in
tiny.
the club, people don't mind.
You should have seen. Do you know what a homeless person looks like? Homeless person, you have to just kwekaza no better DJ. You just walk with cigarettes and you just kwekaza because I looked terrible. I'll show you photos.
Now, how were you a DJ if you don't even have equipment or something like that? Were you
That's a
ever
good question. So one of my
China
older
has
brothers,
sent.
had a DJ thing. So a DJing. I used to love music. He used to teach me PC DJ. You know PC DJ back in the day. So I learned on PC DJ. So I've always had that knowledge at the back of my mind, beat matching and BPMs and all of this. So when I went on the street, at some point, like I just used to love being in bars. I would just be in bars and I know every song. I could hear what song was coming. I would even tell DJs, no, switch the tempo like that. And DJs are like, who is this? Who is this person? Like, first of all, you look funny and you understand. So, but basically, I just got the idea and said, you know what? Why don't I just become a DJ? And especially reggae dancehall. Was just to find an excuse to be in bars. Because when you're homeless, yes, you know, people start talking. People will start thinking that you're a hoe. You understand? I would sit in bars and men would come to me, you know, thinking that you're a hoe and whatever, and they would sit with me and buy me beer. And by the end, they would come asking for favors. But at the end of the day, we're talking about foreign economic policy of Uganda. So they would be so confused. And they would say, but now you're so beautiful, you're so brilliant. What are you doing in such a place? They would laugh and sometimes they would But say
also,
go and enjoy and
that
go
shows
away.
us the grace of God that you didn't even give your body
Thank you.
at that point.
Thank you.
Or they didn't even rape you.
Yeah. It almost happened once, but that you read in the book. I can't narrate.
So
Yes.
which book has this story? Was it the first one?
Yes,
or
the
second
first
one?
book I wrote was Woman Fire Grace. I wrote it in that very small room in Chirundambata as a healing process. As much as you love Chirundambata, is part of my story.
So how did you write this book?
On my phone. And I remember this was actually where I gave my life to Christ on radio. I was listening to a certain radio station, and by God's grace, I started working at that radio station the next year. But it was in that small room.
The one, right?
Yes, and it was in that small room that I encountered the Lord. And
Oh, wow.
and you know, I remember one day I was reading.
Now, how did you come up with the artwork itself?
I know
That's
that
another
also the
story.
name
When I tell
itself.
you, it's Woman Fire. It's
And in the picture,
divine
it looks really nice,
inspiration.
so-
Yes, I didn't write that book. This cover didn't come out at the same time as writing the book. This was now when I had tested Kosamka, God's grace, money. Now you know.
I tell you're different.
Thank
because
you.
now you're telling us you are homeless. I tell you.
No. This was now a year after I started writing the book. That photo. When I was writing the book,
Where you
I
had
looked
a huge
terrible.
comeback.
Yes. No, it's a grace of God.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, huge
Yes.
comeback.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that photo was actually taken, I think, 2 weeks before the book was released in 2022. But I started writing it in 2021 on my phone. I wrote it on my phone.
Yeah, wonga tose
Now, how did the idea even come about?
No, it was divine inspiration. It was divine
Did
inspiration.
you love to
because
read back then?
Yes, I've always been a reader and a writer. Always.
Were you a
always
lit
been.
twala?
Yes.
Yes.
So writing this book, first of all, was just, I didn't know what God was doing was doing with it at the time, but now I understand. It wasn't just healing for me, because when I started writing my life story from my mom's, you know, from being born up to the point I am, I didn't know that there are parts of me that I had hidden. So writing, I cried when I wrote that book. Like every 2 pages, because there were so many things that I had hidden, you know. But you see silence. But this comes to the theme of the episode, the weight of silence. There are things that we keep quiet about,
and all you can do is cry it out.
We hide them, but when they come to the surface, there's nowhere to run. You have no alcohol, no cigarette, but to hide the pain. you first sit and cry properly.
Then the second book, how did it come out?
Maxeldj, I was going to ask her to actually come back next week too, because I feel like I don't want her to rush the second. Like, it's very interesting. On the show, can you please come back?
Okay, why not?
Because I feel like the time that we have is not enough, and yet this is a very sensitive topic to talk about. Very many of us have different stories. Of course, it might not be addiction to alcohol, but it might be an addiction to sex, an addiction to masturbation, or anything of the
sort. So for the first time, should we call it a part 2?
Man, I feel like we need a part 2 on this. For real. I feel like we should give her from 3 exactly to 5.
If Irene confirms, then why not?
Irene has confirmed. Of course, our producer is also behind this. So I feel like the next book, we need to give it really much time for it.
But what's the title of the next book?
The next book is called New Wine, The Broken Soul's Guide to Healing and a Fresh Start with God.
Amazing. Well, you heard it. We may be having Becky back next week, so please make sure to keep on, and we shall see how that comes about. But otherwise, it has really been a great episode. It has been really nice having you.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, yes, you're such a good storyteller. Like, very many of us have stories, but we just can't. Like, our stories
you can express it in
that boring, in our heads. They are very interesting. We're proud of ourselves.
But time is the problem. Tomorrow is a Sunday. Please make sure to come through to the Christianity Focus Center. A seat will be there waiting for you, and our ushers will be on those doors.